Clutch Trucker is filmed before a live studio audience. That's Rusty. He's a Lhasa Apso, and he's the only dog I have ever known that's made entirely out of meatballs. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks again for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker channel, now with fluoride. Today's edition is Tiny Houses, Trucker Edition. This is my tiny house. This is a Freightliner Coronado. It's a big truck, baby. And as you can see, kind of behind that stack, smokestack back there in the back, that is where I live all the time. Now, this is a video I've been thinking about making for quite a while, but my original plan, it was going to be so grandiose and everything. I've just got to make it kind of a toned down version of it. But you know, I've seen that show on what is it, Home and Garden TV, HGTV, tiny houses, where people decide to downsize their lives into basically a small mobile home, or basically a little bit bigger glorified kind of camper. And you know, the whole concept of the show is how, ooh, isn't it so interesting that these people are wanting to live in something so small? How could they want to do that? Hey, I would love to live in something that small, because it's about 10 times the size of what I live in. Now, I was just on the phone today with Maxwell at Safelite. I got to get my windshield replaced again. I told him I'm a truck driver, and we were trying to find a location along the way somewhere where I could get this done. And so he was asking, well, what's it like to be a truck driver? You know, do you guys, how do you sleep? How do you drive that many hours? And I said, hey, we live in our trucks. And he's like, really? This is where I realized most people have no idea what being a truck driver is really all about. And yeah, we live in this thing all the time. I'm home on average maybe 2-3 days a month, if that. So you can easily say 11 months plus out of the year, I live in this. As I always say, I live in a box. I live in a cardboard box. And he's asking, of course, well, what about holidays and stuff like that? Well, you know, unfortunately, you miss a lot of those. Tomorrow's my anniversary. I'm in Washington State. My wife's in Wyoming. Do the math. I ain't going to be there, which sucks. You have to miss a lot of stuff like that. I try to be home for the big ones, Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, but a lot of times I don't make it even on the birthday. We'll have to celebrate before and after. That's the hardest part about being a truck driver, is being away from home all the time. So I'm putting this video together kind of as for people who are curious about trucking, have no idea about trucking, wondering what it's like, and like I say, tiny houses. We have to be included in that, because we live in some of the tiniest houses, and there's a bunch of us out here every day living this way. I've got a great house in Cheyenne, Wyoming that I barely get to use, that I barely get to see. I live here. This is where I live. And I can say, well, I live in Cheyenne, but I don't. I live here in this truck. So I'm sure you're curious, well, how it doesn't look that big. I can see the back wall right back there behind you, Clutch, and yeah, you can. So I thought I'd kind of do a tiny houses version of my truck, and this is how I live, and give you a real brief look at how all of us live as truck drivers. I own this truck, so I've been able to make some modifications to make it a little bit nicer, since I'm in it all the time. So let the tour begin. So where I'm sitting right now is the driver's seat, and you're seeing the back wall behind me. This is my side curtain. If I open that, you can see there's my side window, okay? This is the driver's seat, but it's also the only upright seat I have in my whole house to sit on. Now, if I reverse the angle on it, of course, you can see here's the steering wheel, and then that would be the windshield right there, but I've got my curtains closed. All right, see, there's my GPS, and there's my light. And again, there would be my side window, but my curtain's there. See, well, there it is. There's my mirror. There's the truck stop I parked at. All right, so this is the driver's seat, but it also serves as my main seat in my house, my tiny house. Now, when these curtains are closed, this is my house. It's no longer a truck. All right, I have another set of curtains. You can see kind of up there behind my TV. I can pull across, that pulls behind my driver and passenger seat into my bunk area, but by doing that, it makes it really small. It cuts a small area even into two smaller areas. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is my bed. This is my bedroom. So you got my pillows and everything over here. This is it. There's an upper bunk that I don't normally use, but if one of the kids or my wife wants to come with me, that will fold down into an upper bunk, just like the lower one right there. And you see then there's the floor in front. That's pretty much all of my floor space right there. This is my kitchen. There's my microwave. There's my refrigerator. It's a hotel-size fridge with a separate freezer compartment because I live in this truck, like I say all the time. I try to eat out of it as much as possible. I've got more snacks and things in these drawers, Walmart type drawers, that I can actually reach while I'm driving. And then here's where I can prepare meals and so forth. And when I sit down to eat, here's the rest of my kitchen. I have this slide out table slash thing. It's a little dirty right now, but here's where I can eat my meals. So there is my kitchen. Where's the living room? Aha! Here it is. Looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? The addition would be my entertainment center, my TV right there on the back of this cabinet. There's my collection of DVDs for my home entertainment system. And the way I enjoy that is this is held on with a bungee cord. And then I can pull the TV out. I gotta move that paper towel. Okay, around here. So when I'm sitting down on what is now my couch for my living room, there is my entertainment system and my TV. So here's the living room. As far as back to the bedroom, up here, above my little only flat surface back here, is my cabinet where all my clothes are. So here's my closet for my bedroom. I also keep some extra things like some cereal up there, and there's my laundry bag. So that's the extent of my closet. I have some more clothes below here. Gotta move this Kleenex box to get to it. Every space is used in here. So here in this box, which I can open up for you, aha, socks and underwear and shorts. So that's the rest of my clothes. So you can see this lower cabinet is a combination of closet and more kitchen space. See down here I keep my George Forman grill and some more soda, and back there, further back, there's cereal boxes and stuff. There's my big trash can. There's my inverter, which makes running everything electric possible in your truck. Converts DC power to AC power. So that's what runs my TV, refrigerator, VCR, and all that. Actually, not VCR, it's DVD player. And that, I didn't show you from my living room section, is right there. See it? Tiny little one mounted on top of my microwave. And you say, that looks like you got a towel in your microwave there, Clutch, and I do. That's because there's that glass plate at the bottom, and that keeps it from rattling around while I drive down the road. That's a great trucker-sized microwave, by the way, from Whirlpool, about one of the few square ones you can find. And because you use every bit of space you can on the truck, there's this nice big area up here. This is where I keep other boxes. If I zoom in, you can see, maybe. There's dry dog food in that one. It's got canned dog food. There's some other food there. Various other food products. Okay. You can look closely. Yep. Yeah, that is Spaghettios, baby. And my boots. Winter boots I even have to stash up there. Use every nook and cranny, baby. On that side, I think I've got some more, oh yeah, Clorox wipes stacked up there. There's all my permit books and everything for work. That's right above my driver's seat, right over here. But looking back from my bedroom slash living room, you can see the front of the truck where I sit and drive most of the day. And then it's also my seat when I'm relaxed and my curtains pulled. Got my CB radio up there. So that is the rest of the house. This is it. All right, you can kind of see there's not a lot to it. Like I say, my floor space right here in front of my bunk, and in between my seats, there's my tennis shoes. There's the dog bowls, and of course, he's got one of his pet beds there. The other one, he likes to mash himself down behind the seat over there. While we're driving, he feels more secure. So that is it. You can see this is the entire house that I live in all the time. Talk about a tiny house, baby. So, like I say, basically gave you a tour of the whole place, and you may say, gee, Clutch, there's something I didn't see. A bathroom. It's because I don't have one. None of these trucks have one. That gets annoying, especially as you're an older guy like me. I'm banging on 53 this year. There's a little secret. This is why truck drivers don't throw away bottles. Something you really don't want to have to think about, but it happens. I'm sorry, when it's 17 below, I'm not getting fully dressed, walking all the way across the truck stop through 3 feet of snow to do the number one. Yeah. You got it for the other stuff. And that's also difficult. So you don't want to ever have to deal with stomach issues. This is why Clutch Trucker highly recommends Acidophilus. Once a day keeps the mm-ms away, baby. I swear by it. Didn't show you my little driver overhead cabinet up here. That's where I keep like vitamins and things like that. My Acidophilus that I need and Advil access to while I'm driving down the road. Gotta have that handy, baby. So you begin to see a theme, don't you? Yes, as I said, my kitchen, my dining room, my living room, my bedroom. This is all it. We live in a space that's smaller than a jail cell. That's right. Criminals have more square footage than we have as truck drivers. So next time you see those trucks and they're pissing you off driving down the road, you know, think about what we're living in all the time. Cut us a little bit of slack. Plus, if you buy anything, it comes on a truck at some point. So if you don't like big trucks getting in your way while you're going down the road, stop buying stuff. You know, these trucks, these modern trucks, are actually more like a small house, a tiny house than you'd really think. We have our own heating and air conditioning system, not just the one that's on the main truck. Most of these trucks, like mine, has what's called an APU, or auxiliary power generator, or auxiliary power unit. So when we turn off the big engine, as we call it, at night, then we turn on our little APU, which is basically a lawnmower-sized engine, a little bit bigger than that hangs back on our frame behind the main cab. And that runs and only uses a tenth of a gallon of diesel an hour, whereas of course the main big engine uses about a gallon of diesel an hour. So you can see how that gets very expensive to leave that running while you're parked. So we have that can run heat and air conditioning. So in essence, just like your house, we have our own heater and air conditioner. We just don't have a water heater, but we have the other stuff. So for example, back here in my bedroom area, there's my pillows and my shelf area. This is my APU control. Looks a lot more like your regular thermostat. You can see right there has the date. It says it's 73 degrees in here. And the other nice thing about the APU unit here is while I'm parked, it keeps my batteries charged and it circulates the coolant for the engine. So that way the engine will start even on really, really cold mornings. The coolant is already warm, so it warms up the engine immediately. So this is our like household heat and air conditioning system. So you can see we're fairly self-contained in here. It's just, like I say, a tiny, tiny house. Now, I mentioned this in one of my other videos, the top 10 things that truckers have to deal with that most other people don't. One big downside is you never know which way your bed's gonna be leaning. It can be leaning to the left one night, to the right one night, forward, back. That gets kind of annoying. Imagine every time you went to bed, your bed is now leaning at a different angle. Plus, a lot of times we'll be parked out here and there's really high winds and your whole house is rocking around all night and you're trying to sleep. And what happens to me, I end up having like Stephen King type dreams because my bed's rocking around so much. And as far as sleeping goes, one other one I gotta mention that I didn't have on that top 10 list as well is, you know, a lot of times people wake up in the middle of the night and they're like, oh, what time is it? We have the added fun of, where the hell am I? So as you can see, we have very little storage in here. We have to live off of very few things. And, you know, that's when I always tell people at Christmas, well, what can I get you? I'm like, I don't need anything that takes up space. Get me seasons of something on DVD so I can watch that. You know, other than that, it has to be small, something I can take with me. You know, I just don't have room for things. You can see where earlier I had my little plastic shelves wedged behind my passenger seat, just so I have extra space for extra snacks and things. Because, you know, every little space in this truck is used up. So, compared to the TV show Tiny Houses, where people are having to really downsize to live in those things, they're not having to downsize near as much as millions of us truck drivers every day are having to do in our really, really tiny little houses. And remember, we live in this thing all the time. You know, this is my home the majority of the year. Tiny houses, trucker edition, baby. And I even have a dog in here. I see some people with huge dogs, 2 or 3 of them, like, what the hell are you thinking? I'm not sharing this tiny space with anything that big, come on. So I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Clutch Trucker channel, the Tiny Houses Trucker edition. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. I've got videos, well over 100 videos now, banging on 150 probably. Anything and everything about trucking. You can learn a lot. Scroll on down, search through them, see what you can find. I've got how not to be an ass wagon, lots of dash cam videos of stuff I see on the road, whole bunch of stuff. So please subscribe, please comment, please like, ring that bell. There goes my GPS responding to me. As always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch out.